Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today we're going to look at some single cards that are absolutely moving in price. We're going to take a look at Fabled off the back of this weekend and all the tournaments and whatnot, and then the upcoming tournaments happening this weekend. Continued just insane demand for Fabled. But before we look at that, we are going to take a look at a Reddit post really quick that I just thought was awesome and tells, once again, the Lorcana experience very well. This person commented on the Lorcana Reddit, advice for a mom getting young daughters into Lorcana. I'm just getting into Lorcana with my 9-year-old daughter as well as my 6-year-old daughter. We are all learning together. Is there any advice for beginners or resources? I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So far, me and my kids are really enjoying this game. We started out with the Learn to Play kit, which has been really helpful. And she goes on to identify that the Learn to Play kit is the gateway product. And this is, just an awesome, it's an awesome story, right, of a mom and her daughters getting into Lorcana, but it's once again is the difference between Lorcana and these other TCGs. Other TCGs like, Magic or One Piece, like this mom and her daughters are probably not going to get into those games. The likelihood that they were in the board game alley and saw something about One Piece and decided to play it is very, very little. But Disney, Mickey Mouse, the princesses, etc., see something like that, you get into it, you try the gateway product, you really like it, and then you're on Reddit opening up the world of LGSs and booster packs and starter decks, and they're talking about going to possible league nights now, and like this is the Lorcana difference. And I know a lot of you guys who watch my channel are collectors, and I've just heard a lot of frustrations, just within my time of doing this YouTube channel, like, well, Pokemon's going to the moon and my Lorcana stuff's flat. A lot of people are selling me their stuff because they're not happy with it and they want to sell their Lorcana to go buy more Pokemon. And look, if that, I have no problem with you doing that. Like, do what's right for you at the moment. But this Lorcana thing is going to take time, but the rewards are, potentially could be very, very big for those of us who stick around, right? I personally enjoy the hobby. I love the game, love collecting it. So like, I'm going to be here. This is where my passion lies. But I think that, just the more time you can put into a hobby like this, the better, if at all financially, relevant, the better you're going to be. But obviously you have to apply time to a hobby like this. And this is just, it was a cool story, something I felt that was worth sharing. Once again, the Lorcana difference, like this mom and her daughters, they were probably not going to stumble into any other TCG. Now, the benefit the other TCGs have is now once they begin to play Lorcana, maybe their girls like Pokemon and they check out a Pokemon League night. Or something like that. Like there's a chance for them to get into other TCGs because they are now into the ecosystem because of Lorcana. But the likelihood that those other IPs were going to get them in initially is very, very low. And this is why, in my opinion, I'm of the strong belief that other TCG fan bases should be rooting for Lorcana very, very passionately. I don't think that that's the case, and I think that that's short-sighted on their part because this entire Disney ecosystem can help prop up all of their games as well and give them more players, more collectors, just more people engaged in the hobby as a whole. All right, moving over to some individual card movers here. We had obviously two big tournaments this weekend. We had Ink Inc. as well as the CCS tournament, and then we also have the PPG tournament coming up this weekend. So still in the thick of it as relates to these competitive events, and therefore the singles are very, very hot off the back of it. Clarabelle being a big mover here. Light on Her Hose from Shimmering Skies. We have a now almost $30 traditional copy of the card. Lowest verified is $30. This was a card, once again, that I touted a little bit for sure down at the $11 mark, saying that this is one that we've seen up around $40, $50 for a long time. When it first came out, would not be surprised to see it return, and it is at least up to the $30 mark, which is great. A cold foil copy of this card is about $36 for a near mint copy, and then the enchanted is up to $172. So doing very, very good as it relates to really across the board, but the enchanted, hey, someone can grab mine for $180. I've had it listed for a long time. This card was much cheaper than that for a good while here. $83. Not a lot of sales, $94. So you get the point. Now you're paying $170 plus if you want to get a copy, or you can buy mine for $180. Shameless plug. With that being said, another big mover from Shimmering Skies, Madam Mim Elephant. It's all about the chonk out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you ain't got an elephant in your deck, what are you doing? Hopefully you got two. You got Madam Mim, you also got Dumbo. But if you can only get one, at least get your Madam Mim chonk in there going absolutely crazy. Once again, I always love to look at the old charts. This card was available for 20 cents. And it is now worth $5. You know, $5.40, 4.83 of shipping. So 20 cents to $5, not bad. Once again, for those of us who can be patient, use time on our side. The amount of the amount of money to be made just on the playable stuff to then put into things like enchanted, sealed product, etc. Remains just one of the best parts about collecting Lorcana, in my opinion. A near mint cold foil of Madam Mim is currently up around $20, which I would be absolutely fine with parting with should you have one. I think now is a great time to sell that particular card. Doc Bold Knight from Shimmering Skies is also doing very, very well. Up at around $8, it looks like, when you include shipping, almost $9. A cold foil copy of this card is sitting around $13. Lowest verified is about near mint, is $16.29. All of these cards are from Shimmering Skies, therefore raising the expected value of Shimmering Skies, which is in a pretty good spot as a set as a whole. Current expected value of Shimmering Skies is almost $76. It jumped quite a bit overnight. And so if you can get a box of Shimmering Skies around that price point, then I'd say go ahead and rip it. If not, then keep that bad boy sealed. Fabled is, just to give you guys a Fabled update here, I won't go through every set, but Fabled is also at 171.53, so remaining incredibly consistent. Went down to $2.76 overnight, and that was after going up $2 on yesterday's numbers. So continues to bounce around, but yeah, we've got a very, very strong market overall for the singles. And then my favorite card that I want to talk about is one that look, on the playable side, look, I play the game, I know how to play the game. I'm not very good at the game. I have much more of a strong passion towards collecting the game, and in this current just like meta and whatnot, I just don't have a strong desire to play the game right now. I'm hoping to kind of find a wave of motivation before the set champs, because I absolutely love the Maleficent Monsters Dragon set champs promo, but right now I've just not been playing much Lorcana at all. But this is a card that, since it came out in Shimmering Skies, and this is, as a collector, I highly, highly, highly recommend learning how to play the game, because opportunities like this happen, whether it's Clarabelle, Madam Mim, Doc, or a card like Scrooge. Right now, the lowest copy on the market is, $235 plus shipping, or about, $280 give or take there with the near mint copy and the shipping added on. But if you look at, once again, our 6-month chart here, 12 cents was the lowest at some of these points. 1 cent, someone sold one of these for a cent. And this is one that I have been on for a long time. But tell my buddies, like, a 5/5 that only costs 4 to play, quest for 2, like it's just a tank of a character. I've been saying that, and then as rotations happen, a lot of the removal got removed. I doubled down, and now Zan's using it in his deck. And this is one that I kind of foresaw coming. Just simply, I bought, extra copies if a store ever had any that I was already buying other cards from. I just added it to the cart. And this is the benefit of being a player and understanding the game, just to a certain degree. Like, look, just at kind of base principles, it costs 4, but it has 5 strength, 5 willpower, and quest for 2. Like, those combinations, whenever you understand the game, that's just a very good card. Now, it doesn't have a massive effect, or no effect in this case, and so it's definitely not, and it's not inkable, so it's not the best card in the world by any means, but it's one that's very, very well statted, and it quests for, 2, which is very, very important. If you play the game, you understand that, and so this is one that I've been setting aside. I've got a stack of them, and now it's gone from, a penny. Most of mine were probably bought for in the range of a quarter to 50 cents. Currently sitting at, $1.50, $2, whatever. Hopefully it continues to go up from there. But this is one that, once again, just a benefit of learning to play the game. And so that's, if anything to take away from today's video, if you only collect Lorcana, you only invest in Lorcana, whatever, take some time to just learn the game, guys. It is very, very simple. You can probably watch a how-to video in 5 minutes and understand it. It's a very simple game to understand. Now, there's a lot of complex play lines and things like that once you actually get into the game, but to just understand the general principles of what a card is, how does it operate, point, what are these different numbers and things telling me? I would highly recommend it, because that's honestly, like, in Lorcana, the singles move the market so much and the player base moves the market so much. As a collector, if you're around for a while and you're able to look at some of these cards and say, hey, this card's available for a cent right now, like, I think there's a world where this card could probably be good. Picking up, as many copies as you can at a penny, whether that's 10 copies, 50 copies, 100 copies, whatever, or just, slowly cost-based averaging in. You can end up with a stack of these cards that then there's a mad rush from all the players who are constantly just like flipping one card for another card, and they're constantly in this spin cycle of needing the next meta card, and what is Zan playing, what are all these pro players playing, I need to get this card and that card. Like, just buying these cards and actually just not selling them and setting them aside can be of great benefit for times like this. So obviously not breaking the bank there, nothing crazy. It's a couple dollar card, but it's just cool to see nevertheless, because I have been touting up Scrooge aficionado quite a bit there. All right, so jumping over to a Fabled booster box here and talking about Fabled in general. We are currently sitting at $159 for a booster box right now. We've got a couple listings. A Plus Cards has 5. The Bank has 10. The Bank from yesterday, they sold most of their boxes. They have 10 copies. DD Tabletop Gaming at $159. And this is very, very good to see, because I was very worried yesterday, guys. There was people were paying $200 a box yesterday to get their hands on this product. I don't know if it's farther. I guess it's farther down. But there were sales at $189, $189, $189, $190, $190, a case at $190, $189. Lots of sales at the $200 price point, pretty much. And so I'm glad to see this come back down. Not for the people that bought them, but at the end of the day, this is a brand new set. We need it readily available, and we're starting to see that a little bit. I know that I'm going to be coming into about 5 cases tomorrow, which is nice. And I sold those sold off a good portion of them to people in the community who wanted or needed some more product at a very good discount on market, as it would appear right now. So that's really, really nice. But nevertheless, Fabled doing very good. Hopefully we can continue to see more come to the market, because a $200 booster box for a brand new set does not work. Now, when we look at Fabled as a whole, the Iconics, Mickey holding a very strong premium here, $1,100, and we have had some sales now. 8 total sales on TCG Player. If you list it sub 1,000, it seems like it gets bought up pretty much immediately for the most part. This 950 listing, I've been monitoring this card pretty consistently. You guys know that I'm in the market for one. And so 950, this listing did drag for a while, but it did end up getting purchased today, actually, it looks like. So if you list it under 1,000, it gets sold. Plenty of sales over the weekend there after that kind of 1,250 to 1,100 gap that took quite a few days to fulfill and actually get a buyer. So as of right now, there are 8 total sold and 10 listings on the market. So a very, very scarce card in general. Let's take a look at Mini. My favorite of the two. Call me crazy, but this one, if I could only pick one, it would be this one. The Near Mint Mini is currently sitting at 800. Lowest verified is 805. There have been 6 total sales. Low sale price is $745. High sale price of $1,000. I will continue to be patient here. Continue to wait to see what the market does on these. If I have to end up paying $1,200 for it and wait a couple months, then so be it. I am a firm believer in not FOMOing in. And once again, I've said many times that this is a card that I want it, right? And so if I have to take a little bit of short-term pain after I buy it, just to have it and to look at it and enjoy it, then so be it. I will gladly do so. But apart from that, Fabled overall doing very well. Once again, expected value over 170. Box price is lower than that at 150. So I think that's a great entry point if you are so looking to open Fabled. And feedback overall for Fabled has turned very, very positive, at least in the conversations that I'm having. People are really, really enjoying the set. A lot of the things that I talked about in terms of the legendaries having, just the increased, the foiling, the texturing from some of the old legendaries. getting the old cards with the new foiling in general, the enchanteds, the epics, the iconics. I think the epics are honestly where the most value is right now in terms of Fabled single cards. A lot of the cards are, I would say, overpriced, or at least they have a lot of constraints that's driving the price higher. Something like Dumbo, Ninth Wonder of the Universe, has sold 26 copies at a range from 340 to 444, currently sitting at 385. This card I think is going to be a lot cheaper in the future, but right now if you're playing in a tournament and you're playing Blurple or any sort of purple deck, then you need 4 of them if you're going for max rarity. And shout out to Color is Law. She posted on her Instagram, someone at the Ink tournament had max rarity Blurple, and I think they had like 2 or 3 Bells accomplished Mystic. They had the Dumbos, they had the Finders Keepers. I think they maybe even had some Hades in there. I mean, this deck was like a $5,000 deck would be my guess at like the current market price. Like, these players are crazy, right? So many of us, like my Hades, it's hopefully trade bait for an iconic, but it's just sitting in its top loader. Hasn't seen any play, just waiting to be purchased. Nevertheless, not playing with that bad boy. But respect to all those that do. And if I had a tournament this weekend, I'd probably sleeve it up and take it for a spin anyway. But yeah, overall, we have started to see some of the enchanteds come down sub $100. Joining Cruella de Vil, Mulan breaking the 100 price point, Pongo breaking it, and then Mickey as well down at 60 for a little Steamboat action. 65, pretty cool card for $65. Gold nameplate, iconic art, iconic character, iconic scene. Obviously not being used in any decks, hence the $65 price point, but a very cool card nonetheless. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at for Fabled. Still some pretty low listings overall for things like Ariel. Things like Pooh Honey Wizard, still down at 8, which is crazy, but the price is coming down for Pooh. We got one at 150, but they say please read description. So see what's going on there before you make any purchases on that one in particular. Legendary Dumbo at $72 for a light plate, $72 for a near mint. 736 have been purchased already for a high sale price of $100. What is a cold foil out these days? Pretty much the same price as a regular. So look, if you're in the market for a Dumbo, get yourself a cold foil. It's a couple more bucks. Why not? Get it nice and shiny with that full card foiling. So that's basically it for today's video. Overall, Lorcana's in a very, very strong spot. There's even some, and I'll make like a more traditional like investing, like booster box style video here soon. But there's some slow but steady movement on the first chapter. Some of the first chapter enchanteds are increasing in value very subtly, but it's there. And I think it's as clear as it's ever been to me that we're in a great spot as it relates to Lorcana, no matter what the talking heads say online, whether it's Rudy or anyone else who just don't understand Lorcana and don't understand the fact that they had to create a game before they created a collectible. They have definitely started to shift that, right? They've got an amazing player base, a very, very dedicated player base. One that will sell out events in seconds and travel all over the world, growing a worldwide player base. But they've definitely shifted that focus. I watched an interview this week from Hobbyist Novice. I'll find the video and link it in the description. But that gentleman did a great video or interview with Ryan Miller, and they talked about Lorcana specifically as a collectible for about half the video. And Ryan kept hitting on how he wants Lorcana to be a great trading card game and a collectible, right? Like, he is seeing it through a collector's lens, which in my opinion is a shift from how they began to talk about this. At the beginning, it was a game. It was a game. They needed to get the cards in the hands of the players. Reprint is needed. It's a game. Now he is starting to talk a lot more of it as a collectible, right? Things like the collector's quest that they're doing, the cruise line promos. Like, he's definitely gearing more towards the collectors. Obviously, the rarity tiers and Fabled, and so I think there's great times ahead for Lorcana, both as a game and as a collectible. Obviously, we've gone through I would say a flat bear to flat market for over the last year, especially with things like rotations, worlds being closed, poor DLC Season 2 announcements, things like that. There's definitely been some pain, but I think there's a lot of gain ahead. I can't see the future right. Do what's right for you. Do not overinvest. Do not take on leverage. It's not going to go to the moon tomorrow. You need to be able to apply time to this. And if you can do all of those things, then I think we're going to be in a really, really good spot. Fortunate for me and a lot of you guys, we love the game, we love the cards, and it's just fun to collecting it. And what a great hobby! I mean, just truly a very, very rewarding hobby. You know, some of these cards are just pure magic to look at. Like, I don't know, I just like these cards so much that just looking through them gives me I mean. Even something like Namari, like this has always been like one of the cheapest cards in Rise of the Floodborn. But like, I think it's a sick card, and I feel like, you know, Enchantress just as a whole are so underappreciated in terms of how scarce they are and how hard they are to pull. And that's just, you know, it's really just a difference in the market, in terms of it being a player's market versus a collector's market. But for how rare these cards are, whether it's an enchanted, whether it's a set chance promo, like if you're a collector, it's a great time to be able to add your collection and setting goals and things like that. Like it's truly been a good year for that, which, you know, for someone like me, I hopefully see the big picture and at least try to think in those terms. And using the last 12 months to continue to add cards to the collection has definitely been a priority for me, and it will continue to be a priority moving forward. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and we'll be back with another video soon. Goodbye.